This is our last lesson on basics, okay? And today we're going to talk about cues. We've talked about form, we've talked about basic conducting, we've talked about marcato conducting, we've talked about cutoffs, count-offs, and now it's time to work on some cues. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you kind of a crash course. If we were in the room together in a regular workshop, I would love to be able to have you guys work in teams and be able to help you with some positioning. But for now, this is all we have, so I'm going to do my best. The first thing I want you to do is decide what your dominant hand is. I'm right-handed, so my dominant hand is my right hand, okay? I want you to practice these first cues with your non-dominant hand. So I will practice with my left hand because I am right-handed. The number one rule for cues is that you never, ever let the pattern suffer, okay? Never. So the pattern continues with your dominant hand, whichever hand you're not cueing with, always, okay? The pattern cannot suffer. If the pattern suffers, the cue is useless. Rule number two, use your face, okay? Use your head, your face to communicate with the cue. If I was to cue someone and I was just to throw it out here without looking at them, you've lost 50% of your power to make sure that cue happens on time, okay? So number one, pattern doesn't suffer. Number two, use your second most important conducting tool to add to the effectiveness of the cue, okay? And number three, always try and give the cue a prep. We'll talk about that, okay? So those are the basic, most important rules of cues. All right, so cue placement. Most important thing are three different angles. The first thing I want you to do is hold your arm out at a 90-degree angle. Okay, we've all had geometry at this point. 90-degree angle, straight out. All cues are slightly in front of the body, not out here. If you do it right out here, directly to the side, the band will lose it because of the placement of your podium, okay? So slightly in front of the body, 90-degree angle, okay? This is where a lot of our cues will happen, okay? This 90-degree angle. Now, I want you to go halfway between your body and this cue, right here, okay? That is a 45-degree angle, halfway between 90 and 0, 45, okay? Now, I want you to go halfway between 90 and straight up right here. This is a 135-degree angle. So our three basic cue placements will be 90, 45, 135, okay? These are the cues that happen on beats 1 and 3, typically. We'll use them other places sometimes, but mainly these will be cues on 1 and 3. We'll go over cues on beat 2 in just a moment. So what you will want to do is you'll need to determine where the cue should lie. If we're talking about a front ensemble moment, a soloist right here on the sideline, you're more than likely going to use this 45-degree angle cue. You're going to want to straighten the elbow, put the palm up to the sky, okay? If you're talking about a section, the entrance of a new phrase, a group of soloists, something like that, you're probably gonna go with a 90-degree, okay? This 135-degree cue, we don't use it very often. It's for a pretty big moment and will usually be followed by a sustained note or a suspension. So the main ones we're gonna be worried with are this 90 and this 45. So here's what I want you to do, okay? Again, keep conducting with your dominant hand. I want you to conduct a basic 4/4 measure for me. I want you to go 1, 2, 3. I want you to freeze on beat 3. Your dominant hand will continue to conduct beat 4 while the non-dominant hand comes all the way to the hip, okay? Elbow bent, okay? And then as the right hand, or your dominant hand, sorry, comes back to the tabletop, at the same time, your cueing arm will go out to a 90-degree angle, palm up, slightly in front of the body, remember not too far back, elbow straight, but not hyperextended. Because if you hyperextend, what happens to the shoulder? The shoulder comes up, it's no longer relaxed and stable, okay? So, I want you to do this. 1, 2, 3, drop. That's all I want you to do. Do it with me. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 3, drop. Okay, now I want you to try this. 1, 2, 3, drop, pop. Okay? okay? You'll hear me say drop, pop a lot because that's essentially what you do. Prep, play, okay? Try that with me. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, drop, pop. Good, do it again. Ready, and 1, 2, 3, drop, pop. Now we're gonna do it again, and I want you to take your head with it, okay? On the drop, we're gonna lift the head, and on the pop, we're gonna look at whoever we're cueing. Look out the extension of your hand, okay? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, drop, pop. Okay, you try it with me. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, drop, pop. Okay, again, using that head helps reinforce the cue, super important, okay? Good, the exact same thing happens with a 45-degree cue. We're gonna drop all the way to the hip, gonna pop it out, palms up, elbow is straight but not hyperextended, okay? The head does the same thing, but we're looking at whoever's playing, okay? So if you have a soloist down here, we're gonna look at them, okay? It's not always up here in the sky, all right? So let's try the 45-degree angle basic cue, drop, pop, cue. Okay, here we go. Ready? 4 times. 1, 2, 3, drop, pop. Okay, do it again with me. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 3, drop, pop. Okay, so now I want you to practice, just for the sake of practicing, this 135-degree cue just one time, okay? So it'll look something like this. 1, 2, 3, drop, pop. Most of the time, this will be some big full band sustain note. So most of the time, you'll just want to take the head up with it. Okay, you're really not looking at anyone. Most of the time, it's a whole big group of people if we're waving our arms way up here. Okay, so just try that one time for fun. Go, ready? And 1, 2, 3, drop, pop. Okay, just for fun. Now, you can do one of two things with a cue. You can hold it, meaning it's a sustained pitch, a sustained cue, okay? Or it's just a cue to play, it's one count, okay? It's pretty simple if it's held, okay? Let's say that I had a 4-count hold. I would go 1, 2, 3, drop, hold, 2, 3, 4, and I would just come up and bring it back in, okay? After the hold is completed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Super simple, easy to do. The hard part is keeping that one hand conducting in our basic pattern without letting it suffer, without letting the tabletop wander, without letting our elbow flop, without letting anything fall apart, okay? You have to split your body in half. This side has to be automatic, and this side has to be doing the cue. Now, that's fairly simple. I want you to practice that. So pause the video and practice doing that. You can practice different lengths. You can hold it 4 counts, 6 counts, 8 counts, whatever you feel like doing. So 1, 2, 3, drop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. That's all I need you to do, okay? So stop the video, practice that a few times. I want you to practice it at the 90 and at the 45, okay? And if you feel just really super comfortable with those, you can practice at the 135-degree as well. I can tell you the 135-degree will always be a sustained note. We'll never go 1 and pop it back down. It'll always hold. Okay, that would look kind of silly. All right, so stop the video and practice those sustained notes. You might ask, how do I get from here all the way back into the pattern? Exactly what I just did. You have the cue, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. You kind of swing it back in, or you can go up in, depending on the style of music that you're doing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Either way. So pause, practice those, come right back. Okay, so now you have the 1-count cue. Excuse me. These are a little bit trickier, but we use them a lot more often, so it's important that you know how to do it. The 1-count cue, simply cue someone to come in, and then you're back to conducting with 2 hands. So let's start with the 90-degree cue, okay? So it'll be 1, 2, 3, pop, drop, pop, back in. And the important thing is that you come back and you prep to get back into your beat. So 1, prep, 2. Do you understand? Not 1, prep, 2. Don't do that. You want to make sure to prep out of it to get back into your beat. So you'll do 1, 2, 3, I'm sorry, that was sustained. It's been a long day, guys. Let's try it again. 1, 2, 3, drop, pop, 2. Do that again. That was terrible. Do it again. Ready? Watch me. 1, 2, 3, drop, pop, and 2. Okay? That was not perfect. But that's just your basic 1 count cue to get in. You can also do that with the 45-degree cue. 1, 2, 3, drop, pop, back, in. Okay, real quick. So 1, 2, 3, drop, pop, back, in. Most of the time these will be more in front of you, and you'll definitely want to look and nod. You're talking about front ensemble work, solo work here. And you'll use those quite a bit. 1, 2, 3, drop, pop, in, 2, and you just bring it back up in. Like I said, you'll never have a 1 count 135-degree cue, ever, at least not when I'm around. So I want you to practice the 90 and the 45-degree cue both in sustain for different lengths and in the 1 count. The return from the 1 count cue is essential. You will use that a ton, okay? Now, while we're comfortable out here with the 90-degree cue, let's talk about putting it on something besides beat 1. Let's talk about putting it on beat 3. Okay, you can go 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, drop, 3. Same exact principle. 1, drop, pop. Okay, same thing for 45. 1, drop, pop. Okay, same thing. So I want you to practice that on the cue being on beat 1 and on beat 3, both 1 count and sustained. Okay, I'm not worried about this up here being on beat 3. Don't worry about that. I only want you to practice this on beat 1 and being sustained. Now, also, there are different ways to get into this cue. It doesn't always have to pull from the hip. The drop pop is usually for stronger moments. There are smaller moments that require less emphasis that you could bring it from here or even from here. So watch me. You could go 1, 2, 3. Now what did I do? I went to the gut. So most of the time you'll pull from the hip or the gut. So watch me. 1, 2, 3. And you'll want to take the head with it. 1, 2, 3. So I want you to practice only the 90-degree cue, okay, on beat 3 coming from the gut, okay? Most of the time you won't gut and come here because it's hard to see. You want them to see this prep and come out here because otherwise it's going to kind of all come together in one big motion. You want it to be clear. So, to review, that was a lot of information. I want you to practice dropping and popping from the hip. I want you to practice dropping and popping from the hip at 90, 45, and 135. In that order, always start with 90. I want you to practice those on beat 1. I want you to practice those both sustained for multiple counts and 1 beat at a time, okay? Then I want you to practice them on beat 3, okay? Where they could come both from the hip and from an interior space like the gut, okay? Do not practice them going on beat 1 from the gut. Beat 1 will come from the hip always, okay? That's a lot of information, and I hate to do this over video because this can be tricky, but this is the part of the workshop where things start to move fast. Now, I promised you cue on beat 2. These are crossover cues. These are the most common cues that you'll use on beat 2. And let me say, this is not an exhaustive list. These are the basic cues. There are a ton of other cues that we might use in a marching band show, but are not necessary for an audition. So we would go 1, 2. We would have the non-dominant hand pause. We would have it freeze in space on the tabletop. We would take the dominant hand, if that's what I want you to practice right now, and we would cross over and tap the tabletop on the other side. So if I had a soloist coming in on beat 2 or a little French hornlet coming on beat 2, I would go 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, the thing about a cross cue on 2 is that you have to be able to do it both ways to both sides of the band. So try it also with your non-dominant hand freezing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Practice those both ways. Those are fairly easy. The thing you want to be careful about is not to swoop up and miss the tabletop and have the band miss your hand. You want to make sure you place it. Just a minute, John. So you want to be careful with those cross cues. Practice those. They're only for beat 2 and they're only for 4/4 time. So I don't want you to worry about practicing cues in 3/4 time or 2/4 time right now. These are only 4/4 cues to worry about for audition purposes, okay? So 90 degrees, 45 degrees, 135 degrees, drop and pop cues, gut and out cues, and crossover cues on beat 2. You will see these a lot, and you will see these in your audition piece that's coming up in the next lesson. So, in the meantime, until your audition piece arrives, I want you guys to be working on that basic conducting patterns. Really, really hammer those, guys. The count off, the basic conducting regular arrow pattern, the basic conducting marcato in 4/4-3/4-2/4, the basic cross cut, okay? And work these cues. While you're working these cues, it's important to try and work them while you're also doing a pattern, okay? So don't just go dot, dot. Try and work a pattern into it. 1, 2, 3, dot, dot, okay? So conduct and get into the cues is my point. It's getting dark, and I'm running out of light, and we're running out of time. So work on your cues. I would love to see your work. If you have any questions, call me or send me a video, and we can work on them. Good luck, guys.